Sometimes the most important work happens in the quiet. Daniel is now in his 80s, living under the third year of Cyrus the Great. While many of his people have already returned to Jerusalem to rebuild, Daniel is still in Persia, and he's deeply troubled. He has stepped away from the normal comforts of daily life. He's in a state of mourning that lasts for 3 full weeks. We're watching a man move into a season of spiritual intensity, and heaven is about to pull back the curtain on something much bigger than Daniel can see. Good day, Grace Keepers. My name is Joe, and this is Daily Dose of God. Happy Monday. How was your weekend? I hope it was fabulous. Here in Oregon, the weather is getting hot. Let me know where you're at and how the weather's doing over there. Also, make sure you stay with me until the end of today's study. We're going to talk about the reality of carrying a heavy prophetic burden. I'm going to share why the current conflict in the Middle East and the reality of our political system recently dropped a spiritual weight on my own heart that I could not simply shake off. All right, pull up a chair. It's time to get to work. We're going to read Daniel 10, 1 through 3. In the third year of Cyrus, king of Persia, a revelation was given to Daniel, who was called Belteshazzar. Its message was true, and it concerned a great war. The understanding of the message came to him in a vision. At that time, I, Daniel, mourned for 3 weeks. I ate no choice food. No meat or wine touched my lips, and I used no lotions at all until the 3 weeks were over. Daniel 10 opens in the third year of Cyrus, king of Persia. Daniel is still in Persia, and by this point, he has already lived through quite a long stretch of history. He has seen Babylon rise and fall in power, and now he's living under Persian rule. Many of the Jewish people have already been allowed to return to Jerusalem, but Daniel is still feeling the weight of what's ahead. Daniel's an older man now. He served under kings, he's watched kingdoms change hands, and remained faithful through years of pressure. So when Daniel is shaken by a vision, that tells us that this message carries real weight. Daniel has seen hard things before, so this reaction should get our attention. The passage tells us that Daniel receives a revelation, and the message is true. It concerns a great war or a great conflict, and Daniel understands that this vision is serious. His response is 3 full weeks of mourning. And during that time, he sets aside rich food, meat, wine, and the normal use of lotion or oil. This fasting here seems to be a partial fast. He's still eating, but he's stripped away the things that bring him comfort or pleasure. This is Daniel's way of showing grief, seriousness, and focus before God. He's humbling himself before God, grieving, and waiting before the Lord for those full 21 days. So Daniel is waiting on the full details, but this great war is going to lead us into Daniel 11 and 12, where kings, conflict, persecution, and hope all come into view. What starts here is going to open up the rest of Daniel's final vision. This moment fits into the bigger story because Cyrus has already allowed the Jewish people to return to Jerusalem. From the outside, that sounds like a wonderful turning point. The exile's ending, the people are going home, and the rebuilding has begun. Yet Daniel is mourning, and that tells us something important is happening beneath the surface. The return to Jerusalem is a big part of the story, but Daniel 10 shows us that the struggle around God's people goes beyond travel land and walls. There is a spiritual weight behind the story. Daniel is being prepared to understand conflict that will affect his people long after this moment. This chapter is opening the door to the visions and battles that follow, especially as Daniel 11 begins to unfold. So, this is a turning point. Daniel has prayed before, he's confessed sin before, and received prophecy before. Now he's entering a vision that exposes the unseen conflict. The story is moving from earthly kingdoms into the spiritual battle behind them, and Daniel is feeling the weight of that before the details are explained. We live in a time where people are taking in more than they know how to process. Every day brings another thing to react to, another thing to worry about, another thing that people are arguing over. And after a while, it wears on the heart. You can go through your normal day and still feel like something heavy is sitting just under the surface. That's where Daniel starts to feel close to home. He receives something heavy from God, and it troubles him deeply. There are moments in life when something gets your attention in a way you can't shake. It may be something happening in your family, or maybe something that you see going on in the world. It might be a decision sitting in front of you. Whatever it is, you know it needs more than a quick reaction. A lot of us are living in that kind of place right now. We hear so much. We carry so much. We try to keep moving because life keeps demanding our attention. But deep down, we know there are things we need to bring before the Lord with a serious heart. Some things need prayer before they need an opinion. Some things need wisdom before they need a reaction. If something has been sitting heavy on your heart, take it seriously enough to pray about it. Ask God for understanding. Ask Him for wisdom and to steady your heart so you can see clearly and walk faithfully. The world can throw a lot at us, but God is still the one who gives understanding when we slow down enough to seek Him. So, although this isn't as heavy as Daniel's issues, I want to share with you that for a very long time, I stayed away from voting. And during this last election, Donald Trump ran such a spectacular campaign that he made me truly believe in him. I believed he was going to fix the government. I believed we were finally going to get the absolute truth about the Epstein files and JFK. He was believable. So I registered and I voted. I held out hope for him as time went on, even when the narrative around the Epstein files started getting weird. Then this current Iran war began. Watching the administration's actions and seeing Israel heavily direct our country's involvement dropped a massive, undeniable grief on my spirit. I felt immense regret over that vote, along with a profound sadness realizing that our government is as crooked as a $3 bill and driven entirely by money and blackmail. That's the reality of a prophetic burden. It's seeing the world for what it truly is, feeling the sheer weight of that decision and mourning the brokenness. So here's what I want to ask you today. What is the one thing happening in the world right now that may have dropped that kind of prophetic weight on your heart? Let me know down in the comments. I really do want to hear how this lands with you. Daniel carried this weight for 21 days. He grieved, fasted, and he waited. Tomorrow we're going to see the silence around him break. On the banks of the Tigris River, Daniel is about to have an encounter you will never forget. And if this study is helping you, please go ahead and like the video, share it with someone who needs it, and subscribe so you can keep walking through Daniel with us. The Daniel 10 Study Guide workbook is linked in the pinned comment, and it's down in the description as well. So make sure you grab that and follow along with us this week. If there was ever a week that you watched every episode from the beginning to the end, this is it. This is going to be a fabulous week, folks. I never studied Daniel like this before, and it is quite possibly the most exciting and eye-opening book I've read. So, I know that says a lot because there's so much in the Bible. But do yourselves a favor. Be here this week. It's going to be a good one. All right. I thank you so much for being here. God bless you and yours. And I can't wait to see you here tomorrow for another dose. Have a great day, folks.